What's going on, Safehouse family?
How are you today?
All right, we are celebrating love for Julie and Chris today. We attended a beautiful wedding, and now we're about to have a wonderful reception. And actually, my band is playing tonight, so you boys gonna play the bass and do a little singing.
You know me, always ready to celebrate love.
Yeah. Well, we just want to introduce part 2 of our conversations, Safehouse Conversations. We're going to dig a little bit into the complications, myth and folklore around in-laws and families and things.
So if you thought that the first part of our conversation was good, then you need to buckle up.
Yeah.
Because this one is even better.
Yeah, absolutely. So strap in, get ready for Safehouse Conversations. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Please
and give
comment.
us questions.
We got a lot of comments from the first video, and so we really appreciate it. So please comment on this one as well.
All right. We love you, Safehouse family.
Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Peace. I thought about, so one of the other things we talked about, like folklore, is in-laws. How, the Bible says, the man leaves his wife and cleaves to, leaves the mom, and then he cleaves to the wife. And so, but where does that leave space for in-laws? Yeah. Because I think one of the things that we had talked about was, so in Ephesians chapter 5, it gives like all of these responsibilities. It gives the responsibilities of the husband, and it also gives responsibility to the wife. But then if you go over to Ephesians chapter 6, it tells you, honor your mother and father. So what does that look like in marriage when, what do those boundaries and things look like when you're still trying to figure out how to honor your mother and father while you're becoming one?
Mm-hmm. I would say, start this off, because we have a very
Interesting.
And I say at the moment, with my family, we're no contact at the moment. Mm-hmm. I actually think it's part of the parents' responsibility to understand that, because if my parents are married, mm-hmm. so they have already experienced that leave from your mother, cleave to your wife mm-hmm. ordeal. Mm-hmm. But when it's the child's turn and you don't want to let your child go, and you're trying to manipulate and dictate, and no, you should do this. At what point do you then say, I'm overstepping the boundaries that doesn't even have to be spoken, but I'm just overstepping this boundary. Mm-hmm. Call me if you need me. I'm here if you need me. Compared to, no, I need to be there for you. I need to know what's going on. I need to know X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. So I think it starts with the parents. Then it's because that, like we talked about earlier, our parents is our first example of everything. Absolutely. So if you don't teach your kids how to properly, now it's time to leave the nest. It's time for you to go on your own. They're not going to properly transition well. Right, transition well. So,
this is why I say this, and people think it's just cliche-ish, but I think parenting still is the most difficult job in the world. And you say, why? It's because not only does the child grow, but you have to grow as a parent in relation to each child. Mm-hmm. You have to be a different parent to each child, understanding where they are in their life and being a parent to where they are. And that's not easy because remember, they're coming from their own experience, their own history growing up with their parents. So that's a big thing we have to consider. How did their parents respond to them leaving? Yeah. And then oftentimes when you have so much love for your child, you don't want to let them go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right? So that's also love? Difficult. Well, it's not being expressed the proper way. I will say it like that because like you guys are saying, you do gotta let them go. And it's not easy. And that's why I think it's so important for parents to have a partner and have a family around them to help them. Hey, they're 12. They need to be doing this. Hey, a community partner, they need support as well because we can be blind. We can be blind as parents, but that's I try to give grace because we're kind of, we're in the middle. I like to say we're in our mid 40s And so we deal with our parents and our children and our children's children. And so, we don't want to repeat the mistakes our parents made, but at the same time, we do understand what it means to be a parent and what our parents went through. So we're trying to look at it from different sides, and that's why I love our community, because we have so many people in our community that are at different stages in their life, and we can say, hey, how y'all dealing with this? Or how are y'all doing with this? And we can go try to get some wisdom out of some wise counsel and some people around us, because we don't know everything. And I think, the fact that we both have that a level of humility to say, hey, how did y'all deal with this? Because we're having a really hard time. I think it goes far. It goes a long way.
That's good.
I think some of it, we have to figure out, regardless of whoever you are, we have to figure out how to present ourselves as safe to people. And when we talk about in-laws, and we have some out there that don't know how to present themselves as safe. I understand you might have gone through this. I understand you might have experienced heartbreak, rejection, whatever you might have experienced. We gotta still present ourselves as safe to our children-in-laws or our family members, or even the child's parent that is the in-law to the the spouse. Like, we have to still figure out. I get parenting. I'm a parent. It will break my heart to repeat history. It will break my heart to one day, how we might not have the best relationship with his family, not have that with my son because of the decisions that I make. But all in all, they have to still present themselves as safe. And you got some people that will just, okay, my in-laws are not presenting themselves as safe, I'm still gonna try. And then you have thugs in the spirit like me, and I mean this with love. I've been through so many different things. I'm only 30 years old, and I've been through so many different things, and I was handed a certain level of responsibility and maturity at the age of 5. So I think a lot differently. And I say this to say that when it came to certain situations and experiences with my in-laws, I love them so much. I hope they catch this so that they know. Even though, we ain't talked in years, what I'm saying? I still love y'all. But when you meet someone like me, you still have to, I know what I've been through. I know what they know I've been through and all that good stuff, right? But you still have to present yourself as safe. Because if I don't see safe, this is with anybody with me.
And saying you're stuck in your ways,
I'm not gonna,
not okay.
As an excuse, right? I'm not gonna be a willing participant. And it's unfortunate, but that's where self-love comes in. That's where, if I have enough respect, not even for you or my in-laws or my family, but for myself, it's certain things that I can't participate in. It's certain behaviors like that toxicness, they bring it too. Unfortunately, learned behavior, experiences, the things that they've experienced, I get it. But when you don't, that's my biggest thing. If you don't present yourself as safe, you can't expect people to sit there and dance with you in your seasons of unsafety or your seasons of, I miss mama or I miss daddy or whatever the case may be,
I'll say a big thing that I heard from a therapist one day, and I think this applies to in-laws, is that you teach people how to treat you. And so sometimes you have to teach people, even your parents, with your actions. Hey, this is me now. I'm an adult. I gotta go. But as a parent, you gotta just be like, okay, I'm here. Like, my number's not gonna change. My address is not gonna change. And if it do, I'll let you know.
Right.
And that dynamic. So, and be respectful to that other person. Show them patience. Show your child spouse understanding, like I said, safety, patience. Don't just be like, I'm writing them off because I don't like how they talk. They talk back, or they say, dress this way or dress that way. Like we talked about earlier, Kia expressed herself through her style of clothing and hair in high school. Yeah. Everybody has a different story. That doesn't make them dangerous for your child, but get to know them, get to understand them first before you say, all right, nah, she ain't the one, she got to go.
And I think there should be, just in general, a higher level of understanding from everybody. So you went through this and you're at at this age, you're bigger age because you're the adult in this, right? I've also been through this at my young age. So let's have a level of understanding. I'm sharing with you some of my stuff. You're using that against me. That's not fair. You're sharing stuff with me, or you might not be sharing anything with me. I can't get to know who you are. I can't understand that, we got together, I was 17 years old. So I'm not understanding where this is coming from. I'm not seeing this is something you went through. I'm not seeing that, whatever might be going on, because I don't want to put anybody's business out there, but I'm not seeing things from a mature adult perspective. I'm seeing that you're pushing me away. I'm seeing that you don't like me. I'm seeing all these different things, right? And it's like, to be honest, when we talk about Black culture, a lot of history repeats itself. And it's really unfortunate, right? And then some of the things that I found out about my lovely family members, right? They went through a lot of the same things I went through. So for me, it's like when I'm young and I'm experiencing this, I'm sitting here like, you went through this too. Why would you put this through me through it, So it's like, I didn't have that level of understanding. I would say I have it a little bit more now. I don't accept it still, but I do understand okay, history has repeated itself and it's trying to, that saying, it ran in my bloodline until it ran into me. Yeah. I'm the type of I work with kids, right? So I'm the type, I try to make everything a teachable moment. And when they say teach people how to treat you, that's how I am. And I'm raising up a young Black boy.
Amen.
So where my husband wasn't, did not know certain things because his parents were doing the best that they could. I have this, I'm also spiritual. So I've been loving saying this. I have the spiritual advantage, right? Because I have a relationship with God and because I've been obedient to God, I have the advantage. Yeah, so I'm able to do things a lot differently, I'm going to be honest, better. And that's no shade to anybody that we've come from, but that's just that. And so that level of understanding is something when it comes to family, but especially in-laws, because that's that's the family that you're supposed to keep around when you get married, right? Those are the people that matter besides your spouse. It has to be safety, respect, understanding, really understanding for the relationships to be able to flourish.
That's really powerful about what you said about that whole safety piece, because a lot of couples who struggle with their in-laws, that safety is, that safety and respect are two of the biggest issues that they come up against. Which is why sometimes those in-law relationships get strained because of both of those issues. Because you feel like, man, like you said, I'm not going to share if I don't feel safe. And if I feel like you're not respecting me, then not only do I not want to come around you, but I also don't want my kids to come around you because that's a spirit to me. Disrespect is a spirit, and I don't want that spirit to come around. I remember I had to have a conversation with my dad. Growing up, my dad, I like to call it reverse psychology. He wasn't the most positive person. So he figured if he gave you negative feedback, then that would make you want to do positive things. And so taking my kids over to visit, he was like getting ready to do the same thing. Like you said, repeating the pattern. And I said to him, I was like, listen, you can't talk to my kids like that. I was like, if you can't figure out a way to be positive, I said, then don't say anything at all. I said, but what you're not going to do is the way you raised us, I said, we're not going to do that with the grandbabies. I said, and he kind of looked at me, because you hate to put your parents on the spot, but I did. But after that, everything changed. He's been very respectful, very affirming. Affirming to the point, I was like, who is this guy?
Over the top,
I don't even recognize him.
Yeah, over the top.
Had it in him the whole time. And
he had it in him the whole time.
Exactly.
Some people just need to be corrected.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm about to shake up the apple cart here a little bit, right?
Boy,
So here's a harsh reality. The Bible puts no reciprocity on honor, right?
Right.
So what does it look like to juxtapose honoring versus all of this? If none of this changes, what does it look like? What does a world look like to honor in the midst of all of that?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
I'll start off. So once again, like I said, I felt like I had the parent, like my dad, not necessarily my mom. My mom was like, goodbye. Love you. Go be with your husband. My dad was kind of like, I'm a daddy's girl. So he's still trying to hold on. So every time Andre would come around, it would be like, hey, I'm cleaning my gun. So Andre kind of like felt like he didn't really know where he stood, like with my dad, just didn't have any idea. And so one time something happened to my dad's car. And so this is where this honor thing comes in at. Like I said, Andre has no idea about how my dad feels about him. But Andre was like, I'm going to give your dad my car. I'm going to let him have it. That's honor. That's what honor looks like to me. Like, despite how your dad is treating me, despite what he's doing, he needs us. He needs this vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to him. That to me is what honor looks like.
He's a good man,
when
Savannah.
It's still messed up.
He's a good man.
Right. That's what that looks like to me.
Can
Go ahead,
I
baby.
have a story I like to share. There was a period where Joe and I were having just a really rough time in our marriage. And
Was that period over?
it's
I'm
over.
sorry, it's a joke. It's a joke.
And and so I get along actually very well with my mother-in-law, but during this period, I wasn't reaching out to her the way that I would ordinarily. And so Mother's Day was coming around. I always get her something for Mother's Day. And a part of me was like, no, just keep your distance. She might have some type of feelings with you, you and her baby, right? Because she love her some Joe. I was like, you know what? Just do it anyway. So I called her and said, hey, can I come by and I just want to bring you a gift. I'm not going to stay long. Yeah, baby, I'm here, da-da-da. I went over there and we end up talking for like hours. I mean, I didn't even know like how the time was passing. I know when I showed up, it was light outside. When I left, it was dark outside. And we didn't bring him up one time. It was just how we...
You see this,
He feels
America?
betrayed.
She tried to steal my mama, America. It's my mama.
He say that all the time. But to me, that was like her even showing me honor.
Yeah.
Like, you're still my daughter. I know y'all going through. And she even like when I was walking out, I know you and Joe will be all right. All right, I'll see you later. And that was it. Like she didn't say nothing else. Mm-hmm. And I felt like me extending honor to her, and she just reciprocated back in such like a loving way.
Yeah.
And she's just always been that way.
And it kind of goes back to what you said, the spiritual advantage, because we do have the spiritual advantage, because God is always going to say, okay, well, what are you going to do? Yeah. Are you just going to let it be like that? Or are you going to, because you always still got to pray about it too, be like, okay, God, how can I, because God is good on strategy, and he will give strategy, especially when it's your desire to want to honor, because that's a commandment. Honor your mother and father, and so to be in that space, to be able to say, okay, God, it's not where it's supposed to be, but I desire to be in a place where I can show honor. So God, show me how to do that. Fix my heart, change my heart posture, because it really does start with heart posture, because now I'm feeling a certain kind of way about it. And so before I can even attempt to even do something naturally, I now have to ask God to come in and change my heart posture toward this person and say, okay, let me fall in love with them. The way that you love them, let me love them in that same way. And that takes time. That's the kind of stuff that doesn't just happen overnight. Yeah. But the one thing I do know is that God is faithful. And when he understands that's really your desire, because that's his desire, it's also his. And so when we get locked into his desire, then he will make a way for us to be able to do it. Like I said, it's so funny, we live with both of our moms.
Yeah, both of our moms live with us.
Yeah.
Up until they both passed away. We bought a house big enough. They had their own bedrooms. And it was wonderful because our kids got to experience their grandparents up close and personal. Right, so they got all of the benefit of the legend, the folklore, the history, the back, all of that stuff. Exactly. They got the benefit of all of that, right? And so You know, it was one of those things where you look at it and say, man, that sounds really complicated. But no, it was an absolute blessing.
So let me just jump in here. So our marriage has been through a lot because we both have been divorced. We both have dealt with a lot of stuff with our kids. We're a blended family. And so we've been through a lot. And when my wife says, like, we used to argue all the time because we're like in this new marriage, and it's like, you know what? We think we're going to fix the mistakes from the last marriage by saying what we didn't say. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I didn't say this in the last marriage, but I'm saying this now. Oh, well, you didn't say this in the last? Well, I'm going to say this now. And so like when I tell you, we had a schedule. Every 3 weeks, we were in a fight.
Full-blown fight.
Full-blown fight. Every three, you could time it. That's how we both knew it.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. You could set your watch to it. It was crazy because we would take 1 week to make up. It'd take us a whole week to make up because we ain't going to talk for almost 5 days.
I got to get it in while I can.
Right. Then we got to get it in. Right. Got to get it in now. You got it in. I'm sorry. Me too. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Girl, this show is good. I'm sorry. 3 weeks later, we were right back at it. And so I give that to say, and I wouldn't say follow our example because we're only here by the grace of God. We're only here by the grace of God because we both are crazy. I don't know how we did it. It's the grace of God. But what we've had to learn through that is what got us here. And one thing we had to learn, and what we're really thriving off of right now, is one, we stopped getting value from one another. It's like, yo, I thank you for your love. I enjoy your love, but your love doesn't give me value. Only God can give me value because only God created me. I'm here to appreciate that you're valuable, but I don't get my value from you. We don't even supposed to get our values from our parents. Yeah. Our value comes only from God. And so why is that important? It's because when somebody is upsetting me, what we don't appreciate our response is, it isn't they disrespected me. It's I don't feel valuable. And that's the reaction you're having, is that their love was supposed to make you feel valuable and loved and worthy. And so first for us, we had to stop, like, that's not your responsibility. It's not my wife's responsibility to give me value. That's why our reactions were so intense. Because it's like, no, I am valuable. No, I am valuable. And you're having this argument, man, that has nothing to do with one another. It has everything to do with the God that created you. And so we first said, you know what? I don't get my value from you. You don't get your value from me. We love the value that we are. We appreciate it, but it doesn't come from us. So then we allow each other to be human. We allow each other to make mistakes. We allow each other to be perfect. Why? Because your imperfection says nothing about me. They just says you're imperfect just like I am. So when I forget something, it didn't say, honey, you're a lousy person. It says, oops, I forgot.
Something, that's it.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so now you can be a human. The other thing is I had to learn is from that, I had to take responsibility for protecting my peace. And that's when boundaries come in. And one of the difficult things about boundaries is not just having them, but being able to articulate them. Yeah. And not being just articulating them when you're mad. Right. Yeah. Not just articulating what's on your nerve. No, long before we get here, sweetheart, ooh. You know what? I remember one time she comes downstairs, and she came downstairs the best way she knew how. If I hadn't learned this would have went bad. But she came down the best way she knew how. I forgot I had did something wrong or whatever. And she came out the best way. And she's, honey, could you just not do this? And she's kind of getting a little emotional, and I'm doing homework. And so, and I'm like, whoa, what's happening? Wait a minute. like, you know what I'm saying? I got this peaceful aura got going on, so I got my worship music on, And she's just, interrupting it, if you will. And I'm like, whoa, because she's getting emotional. I said, okay, honey, I got you. What's the problem? Okay, no problem. I'll do that when I'm finished. Well, I already did it. I said, thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you sharing that with me. Thank you for sharing. I'll try to do better not to do that again. I don't even remember what it was. But understanding that I had a boundary and she had violated, but it's okay. What's going on? Okay, cool. We can deal with it. We can deal with it. But if I'm getting my value from her and I don't know how to protect my peace now, if I don't know how to articulate myself, now what's the response? Oh, you coming into my space. Oh, see, I'm down here. Here you are. See, this is the problem right here. This is the problem right here. You know? And it goes all left.
It goes left, yeah.
It goes all left, but it's me understanding her. I know my boundary. Okay, I'm hearing you. I'm not reacting to you. I'm hearing you. So let me respond to you. And she was like, and I think she was a little surprised that I didn't overreact because she was like, oh, it's like I didn't have to do all that. I could have just told him. Right. And it's the trajectory between started going up and up and up because it's like, okay, all I have to do is tell him. When he makes a mistake, he's not ignoring me. Right. He's not saying I'm not important or what's important to me is not important to him. He's saying I'm human, I love you, I got you, just communicate. And so that got much better between us. And the final thing I'll say, and this gets a little deeper, but I say always pursue your purpose. And why is this important? Because when you know your purpose is, what your purpose is, you are very intentional about what you do, where you go, who you engage with. You're very, very intentional. Everything is on purpose that you do. And this is for believers. We do this people-pleasing thing, or we want to look holy and look spiritual instead of actually being holy and being spiritual. And so we don't understand how we're supposed to be purposeful. Purposeful means, you're not going to be good for me. So we can't be close friends. This has nothing to do with you're not a good person, you're not safe. It's just that on this particular assignment that I'm on, I get no value here. And so, hey, we may be associates, maybe sometimes I see you, but we ain't got to have these investments that's not going to help me get to purpose. And so when you start living intentional like that, particularly with family, right? My family, you could argue, is toxic. They would say, yeah, we toxic. But it's but it's okay because I have a very intentional relationship with my family. When I want y'all around, come around. When I don't want to be around, I'm not going to be around because I'm living on purpose, with purpose. It has nothing to do with I don't like y'all. It has nothing to do with y'all get on my... I have a purpose that I'm living. And if you're not in this particular space for me to get where I'm trying to go, listen, I'll get to you. Right now, I'm in purpose. Please excuse me. And if you can't accept it, it's all right. That's your problem, not mine. I love you. And I love what Lana said. Prayer is so important. Prayer is so important. I spend more time in prayer than I've ever had before because I've had to because we were having this huge transition and I was helpless to do anything about it. So all I could do was pray. And so the situation, I would really encourage, be praying about it. Be praying about it because I've learned what God is so strategic. Oh my goodness. He's much, much smarter than we are. He's much, much smarter than we are. And you have no idea how God is strategically moving pieces on your behalf. You just don't know what's happening. But he is. He's moving things on your behalf. He really is. And just when you're in prayer, it's preparing you for when it happens, you'll be ready. You won't, oh, no. See, because this last time they did this, your heart will be ready to accept it. He'll be preparing your heart. So when it does come, I didn't know it was coming, but I was prepared. I was prepared to welcome it. I was prepared to the whole thing just slide. And it's so crazy because it was a whole miracle, but you ain't even You know what I'm saying? You didn't even act like it because your heart was preparing you for the whole time to soften towards these people that have hurt you, who have disappointed you, relatives that have felt like they didn't welcome you. And God was preparing your heart the whole time. And it's like, and your husband would be surprised. He'd be like, I thought you was going to snap on him. Or he's like, no.
And that is very true. And it's funny that you say that because I would say Kia has the utmost discernment of anybody I ever met. And it's funny that in this, 2 months, I got to say, almost 3 months, her prayer level is way exceeded mine. Like, I'm like, whoa, I got to catch up at this point. Like, it's on point. Everything's on point. And it's funny because it's like, you said that, since the situation with your mom, she's called, like, you was like, your mom's right around the corner.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
So